So what is this out-of-pocket max you see online or explanations of benefit? What should you know about it? Is there any way to reduce it? Welcome, I am the Medical Bill Whisperer, a previous billing manager turned patient advocate. I offer insight, solutions, and answers to patients like you. So what is it? Well, it's two things, a sum and a limit. The sum is of your deductible, co-insurance, and usually co-payments for a year. Your deductible is the set amount that you must pay first out of pocket before your policy starts sending checks out to those medical providers who treat you. Each policy has a different deductible. Some are low, usually with high premiums, some are high with low premiums. Once that deductible has been met, your insurance starts making payments on your behalf. And that's when the co-insurance kicks in. It is a percentage set by the policy, which indicates what portion of the allowance you will pay and until what amount. Consider that the allowance is a fee that the insurance considers fair value for out-of-network claims or that has been set by contract for in-network providers. That co-insurance percentage is what you pay out of that allowance while the insurance covers the rest. For example, if your policy is 90-10, your insurance pays 90% of the allowance and you pay 10% until the amount set by your policy is reached. And once that has been reached, your insurance starts making 100% payments on every allowance until the end of the year. Most policy will also include copays in the max out-of-pocket. A copay is a set fee you pay every time you visit a doctor's office, ER department, see a specialist, or get some other specific service, for example, a CT scan. Each policy will indicate how much of a copay you are responsible for. But your out-of-pocket max is also a limit, a number of dollars that you can expect to pay for a year as long as the policy is in effect and you remain eligible. Now, there could be two limits, one for in-network services and a higher one, often double, for out-of-network services. The principle is the same. Once it's met, your insurance pays allowances in full. Now, if there are two or more members under the same policy, you can expect that every member should have to reach their own limit before the insurance pays 100% of allowance for that member. But two or sometimes three members' maxes can also be added towards a family out-of-pocket max. When that is met, all members' claims are paid at 100%, regardless of whether they have met their individual limits. And while some policies include prescription costs within that out-of-pocket max, others have two separate deductibles or maximums. Now, there are some bad news I must share. The yearly maximum out-of-pocket does not necessarily reflect how much you will or could eventually be responsible to pay to medical providers for a number of reasons. First, monthly premiums are not credited towards your out-of-pocket max. Yes, you pay those to your insurance company or your employer does, and they are not considered a creditable item towards your out-of-pocket max. And the dollar amounts applied towards that yearly max out-of-pocket are not the amounts billed by insurance providers, but only the part of the allowance that is assigned to your responsibility, the deductible, the copay, the co-insurance. As a reminder, the allowance is not the amount billed, but the fee either the contracted rate a medical provider has agreed to accept at payment in full when in network, or the fee the insurance has determined to be the fair value for an out-of-network service. So when you visit an in-network medical provider, the difference between the amount billed and the allowance is a write-off, a discount, an incentive, a reward for you using a contracted provider. But for out-of-network services, the difference between billed amounts and allowance is your financial responsibility. You do not get a discount. Providers write nothing off. So even though you owe and pay it to the medical provider, that difference does not get credited to you. If you see any amount not covered under your explanation of benefit, that means it is a loss to you, a financial punishment, if you will, because you used an out-of-network provider or because the service is not payable. One good reason would be if that service is a specific exclusion in your policy. For example, alternative medicine, custodial care, over-the-counter drugs, IVF, and more. Even if these items are billed to the insurance, the full cost would be your responsibility, and you would not get any credit towards your out-of-pocket max because the allowance would show zero and the full amount billed would show under not covered. Some items, services, or treatments that are deemed experimental or investigational would not be payable and therefore not credited either. If a condition, diagnosis, medical need, clinical purpose, frequency, dosage, prescribed use is either not allowed under the policy, excluded, not FDA approved, not listed as covered under the insurance medical policy, but you do want or need that treatment or procedure, it will be at your full financial charge with no credit towards your yearly share of cost max. Again, the full amount billed would show as not covered with an allowance of zero. So can you change this out-of-pocket max number? Well, no. These amounts are set in stone and then locked in a vault for the time frame determined by your policy. So for 1 year, usually, as long as you pay your premiums, remain eligible, the terms cannot change. But what can change is how much is credited towards it and how fast. The easiest way is to use in-network providers whenever you have the choice and the chance. Because the allowance will be the highest, your insurance will credit you with a higher dollar amount. And once you have met your deductible, the percentage of payment by the insurance will be the highest as well, saving you even more money. And of course, you do get those discounts and rebates. You can locate contracted providers online. Choose the specialty, gender, language, whether or not you require a specific qualification or board certification. And voila, a list pops up. Or call the insurance directly for a list or a recommendation. Legal band-aids are there to help you out. Some through your state and mostly through a federal law called the No Surprise Act. In case of emergency, if out-of-network services are rendered at an in-network facility, especially if you don't have a choice, like for a pathologist, anesthesiologist, or ER doctor, the law says your insurance must allow the highest in-network rate, pay the providers the higher in-network percentage, and leave you with the lowest balance possible. But you do get in-network rate credits for out-of-network providers. Your policy will also give you some accommodations so that you can apply higher rates and therefore a higher credit for out-of-network provider or services. For example, if the provider list given by your insurance is incorrect or not up to date and you incur out-of-network costs, as a result, your insurance may be forced to pay the higher in-network rate and credit your yearly max with a higher dollar amount. Or if an out-of-network provider has obtained a special authorization at the in-network rate, your insurance again must pay a higher percentage, allow a higher allowance, and therefore credit you with the highest dollar amount. A continuation of care authorization can also cover out-of-network services at a higher rate. It can and should be requested when you start a treatment or get pregnant at the end of 1 year, and this care is now rendered by an out-of-network provider. Your plan would have to issue a special authorization to cover the time necessary for you to continue chemo treatment or have that baby, while paying the higher percentage and credit you with a higher dollar amount. If you searched that in-network provider list but could not find any available, trained, experienced provider willing and able to render the medical service you require or address your medical condition now, your insurance can be forced to pay a higher in-network rate and credit you a higher dollar amount. And last but not least, whenever you go get your yearly checkup, take your child for vaccinations or a well baby care visit. You get your pap smear, mammogram, colonoscopy. All of these are preventive care services. They are free to you. You do not need to pay any copay. You do not need to pay a deductible. You have no share of cost. Yes, you don't get any credit, but you save money. Your insurance must pay 100% of those costs. However, make sure that you stress preventive care when you make that appointment. And again, remind the receptionist at the time of the service so that coding can be done correctly. For your insurance to pay 100%, and for you to save money, the claim must be coded properly. So in conclusion, while your yearly maximum out-of-pocket max cannot be changed, what can be is how much is credited towards it and how fast you can meet it, so your insurance starts paying 100% a little bit faster, saving you money along the way. Do check out other videos on specific topics that are mentioned here. I so thank you for watching. Your likes, comments, and subscribe help this little channel grow to reach out to more patients like you. So thank you.